Let's create another Valentine's look. Now this one is called First Crush Rosy Blush. So let's start off with a little bit of primer to make sure everything is going to stay in place. Now we are going to go in with some eyeshadow, so we need to go ahead and prep our eyes. So let's get started with our eye look. So we're going to do just a simple everyday pink tone. So we're going to take this more mauve-ish rosy shade and more of a denser brush, and we're just going to apply it all over the lid. So now to blend all that out, we're going to take this more lighter baby pink. It has a little bit more of a wider base, so it's going to be a perfect blending shade. Now just to ensure we have the most diffused look, we're going to take a cream shade with a very fluffy brush and just run that through with the lightest bit of touch. You don't want to go in with a super dense brush because then you'll actually see it. We just want a light diffusion. So we need to cover up these eye bags. We're going to go in with a little bit of a color corrector with a more denser brush and just go right underneath the under eyes. For a look like this, we kind of need to go in with a little bit more of a lighter coverage. So we're going to take a BB cream and I'm going to take it on this oval brush. This is such a throwback, but I feel like with a really dense brush like this, especially for like BB creams, you can get the most coverage with them. Now as you can see, it's very natural, which is perfect for what we're going for. So now let's go in with a concealer. Now I do want to bring a little bit more brightness, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of a lighter shade just in the main point of the face. So as we let that concealer set, we're going to start doing our brows. So going to go in with this Beauty Creations brow soap and just fluff up the brows. So now let's go ahead and start blending out our concealer. Now we want a more natural look, so I'm going to take this more, it's like an in-between of a fluffy and dense brush. Now since this look is definitely way more on a natural tone, we want to make sure that we don't have an awkward space in between our brighter concealer and our BB cream. So we're going to go in with no excess product with what we use for the BB cream and just blend around the edges so we can get a seamless transition. Now before we go in and fully set our face, I want to do a quick liner. Now because we do this before we set our face, it's a lot easier to fix in case we mess it up. Now let's go in and do our cream bronzer. Now you're going to want to go in with more of a neutral tone to really make sure we're keeping that like very natural look. So I really love this bronzer stick from Morphe, and I'm also going to take a little bit just down the nose. Now just going in and blending everything out with a more of an in-between of a denser brush. Because this is more of a natural tone, you kind of can lose that pigmentation if you're using something super fluffy. Now let's start building our blush combo. So we're taking this more neutral tone of a liquid blush. I love this one. This is Colourpop's liquid blush in the shade Thanks. Now for those who have a lot of texture like me, but you want to do more natural looks with using like creams and liquid blushes, you're going to want to go in with like one of these little puffs, especially if you have a lot of scarring over here. It doesn't really like seep back into your scars. Now let's go in with our pressed powder to go ahead and set the entire face. So going in with a little powder puff, and I'm going to start where I crease the most, which is my under eye. Now because I have a lot of creasing and I have extremely oily skin, I do like going in with a loose powder really just underneath the eye and just right in the center points of the face where I get a really oily. Now let's start filling in our brows. So I'm going to go in with the pomade very lightly. You want to tap mostly into the cap, and you're just going to want to take a very thin brow brush and go slowly into the way that their hair goes. So my hair goes this way, so I focus the brow hairs that way. So now it's time to bronze up the skin. So just going in with also a more neutral bronzer, just right on top where we placed our liquid bronzer before, and just lightly taking it all over the face. So now we're going to finish off our blush combo. So I'm going to take this blush from Profusion. Now this is more of a bouncy texture, so it's going to apply really nicely on top of all of my texture here. So I'm going to mainly focus this just right on the center, aligning it to our eye look and then bringing it outwards because the eye look goes this way. Just to ensure we have everything blended out, I'm going to take a little bit of a mid-tone shade and just apply it right all over the edges to just make sure we have a nice diffused look. I do want to give a little bit more of definition on the nose, so I'm going to take the very small brush and really just go down the nose. Don't want the contour to stand out so much because we're trying to keep this look a little bit more natural. So now it's time to finish up the eye look. So we're going to go in with the same shade that we went on this first one. So we're going to go just right underneath, also with a dense brush. Now we want to really just focus this right under the lash line, just so we have a nice diffusion from the eye look to the under eye into the blush. So now let's go in and finish up the eyeliner. So I'm going to go right on top with the gel eyeliner that's in the same tone as the liquid liner. Just go right on top of it just to ensure that it's not going to move. So let's finish up the brow. So I'm going to go in with a light taupey brown tone. We don't want the brows super dark because we are trying to keep this look natural. So I do want to go in and just slightly clean up the brow. So I'm going to focus this mainly on the arches of the brows. You don't want to take it all in, because with this sometimes it can look a little unnatural, and then just tapping it right underneath that arch. So now we need to go ahead and curl our lashes and apply a little bit of mascara. So now finally we're going to do our lip combo. So I'm going to take this Pinkies Up from Elle. Now going in with a lip liner that kind of matches it. Now going in with a lip liner that is really close to the base lip that you just went in, and kind of treating it like you're blurring out the lip. And lastly, just going in with a light baby pink gloss just right in the center. Now let's add a little bit of highlights. So we're going to take a very flimsy and fluffy brush so we can get the most diffused look, so that when the sun hits the skin, it's just going to look like a nice little touch. And same thing on the nose, you just want the tiniest little bit. And lastly, we need to go ahead and set the skin. Now a look is never complete without your hair and your outfit done, so I will be right back. And I am back now. This is the final look with my cutesy pink top and my jewelry. So this is it for today's look called First Crush Rosy Blush. So if you guys recreated it, totally let me know. But with that, this is really it for today's video. Bye!